The new national population policy will pave way for Nigeria to enjoy accelerated economic growth and harness our democratic asset.
New population policy seeks to curb explosion.
Total capital releases will now move up to 3.65 billion, representing 80% of the capital appropriation for 2021.
Federal government releases 250 billion naira sukuk check for road projects in Niger Delta and FCT. And West African leaders call for action at Pali over coup hit Guinea, Mali and Burkina Faso. Good evening, this is NTA Network News. I'm Cyril Stober in Abuja. Hingino John Adams is in Lagos. And you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and on our YouTube channel, NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page, NTA Network News, Twitter at NTA News Now, and Instagram, NTA Network for updates. Welcome. A revised national policy on population for sustainable development aimed at ensuring the successful implementation of Nigeria's National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 has been launched. President Muhammadu Buhari, who performed the ceremony, made a strong case for urgent measures towards addressing Nigeria's high fertility rate and rapid population growth. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports that the president also inaugurated the National Council on Population Management.
Though a natural resource, population could, however, be a constraint to government efforts at improving the quality of lives of the people if its rapid growth rate is not properly managed. This national policy on population for sustainable development, a product of an extensive consultation, not only brings to the fore the linkages between population and development, but also measures to ease impediments towards achieving a sustainable future for the country.
In addition to providing strategic direction in the implementation process, the National Council on Population Management will hopefully advocate for and support the conduct of the population and housing census to enable the nation achieve the goals and targets of the policy.
Mr. President, this event marks a major step towards giving practical demonstration to the commitment of your administration to build a greater and prosperous Nigeria.
For President Muhammadu Buhari, if solid foundation is to be laid for sustainable development, achieving a reliable, credible, and transparent database on the nation's citizenry is critical.
It is comforting to note that the overall goal of the revised national policy on population for sustainable development is to improve the quality of life and standards of living of all the people of Nigeria, which is one of the major aspirations of this government. The new national population policy will pave way for Nigeria to enjoy accelerated economic growth and harness our democratic asset.
The president is equally elated that the policy emphasizes the urgency to address Nigeria's high fertility rate through expanding access to modern family planning as well as promoting birth spacing. This, he said, will enable Nigeria to achieve rapid fertility control and improve the health of women, adolescents, newborn children, and other population groups.
The revised population policy is rich with all necessary information that will guide the implementation of Nigeria's mid-term and perspective development plan. It will further address concerns of the large population of young people who are our pride, our future, and assets to drive our development efforts. It is my hope that the data generated from the census to be undertaken at a future date will provide all the information needed for the successful implementation of the new policy.
Goodwill messages from the United Nations and the National Assembly were optimistic that a people-centered policy will effectively guide Nigeria's national development enterprise.
May I assure you that both the Senate and the House of Representatives Committees on Population stand ready to cooperate with all stakeholders, particularly in areas where legislative interventions are required for the realization of the targets of the policy.
All of us in the UN deeply appreciate our partnerships with your government and the people of Nigeria. We will do what we can to support your wonderful country, to help ensure that a census is conducted that meets local and international standards and acceptability.
With 200 million people, Nigeria's population is presently the largest in Africa, 7th in the world, and amongst the few whose fertility is still growing. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has formally received the Deputy Minority Leader of the Senate, Senator Emmanuel Bwacha, into the governing APC. Senator Bwacha, representing Taraba South, was elected on the platform of the PDP. Here again is Adamu Sambo.
Senator Emmanuel Bwacha, one of the top-ranking lawmakers in the National Assembly, was presented to President Muhammadu Buhari by the Chairman, Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the APC and Governor of Yobe State, Mai Malabuni.
In appreciation of what we've been doing and the leadership you've been providing for the country, he decided, along with his teaming supporters across Taraba State, to join us. Because in joining us, there are sitting House of Assembly members, former speakers, and the former House of Representative members, and some sitting House of Representative members are joining the party with him. So we are here before you for your blessing, and from this point we are going to agree on a date that we are all converging in Jalingo to give him a proper reception.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who presented the flag of the governing party to the new entrant, appreciated Senator Bwacha for believing in his leadership and selflessness in service to the nation, as well as trusting the genuine commitment of the APC to a greater Nigeria.
I think it's a great day for APC today. If there's a professional politician, you are one of them. You have come all the way along from House of Assembly, Representative, Senate. I think you are gradually moving to this office. I wouldn't mind. You are genuinely welcome, and I am congratulating the chair of APC and the party itself for having you.
Senator Bwacha, who poured encomiums on the president, said his decision to part ways with the PDP was a demonstration of gratitude for responding to the needs and aspirations of his constituents.
The EB bridge, which had been awarded and work is ongoing, was awarded under President Muhammadu Buhari. Nobody from my senatorial district is not happy about this project because this has been our cry since the colonial days. And under his watch, the Kashimbila Dam project had been completed. So I had to answer to the calls of my constituent to join this party and redefine the narrative in Taraba State and restore its lost glory. I am calling on all and sundry to join forces together so that we can build a better Taraba, where governance will be seen as the hope of the people and where development of infrastructure will be a key priority. Basically, that is my mission statement.
The APC caretaker chairman, Governor Mai Malabuni, is optimistic that the strength of the governing party will continue to bolster as the next general elections draw near. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In the meantime, the president has left Abuja en route to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, ahead of the 35th ordinary session of Assembly of the African Union Heads of State and Governments. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports that the president was seen off at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by his Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, Inspector General of Police Usman Al-Ghali Baba, Director General, Department of State Services, Yusuf Magaji Bichi, and other senior government officials. While in Ethiopia, President Buhari will join other African leaders in finding solutions to political, economic and social challenges facing the continent. The leaders will be guided by the theme of the summit, which is building resilience in nutrition and food security on the African continent, strengthen agriculture, accelerate the human capital, social and economic development. On the sidelines of the AU meetings, the President will hold bilateral meetings with some leaders with shared interest in improving trade relations and partnerships towards tackling security challenges for sustainable development. And leaders from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, are hoping to step up action towards ending what they describe as a dangerous trend in governance and politics within the region. Ghana's President and Chairman ECOWAS Council of Heads of State and Government, Nana Akufo-Addo, who presided over an extraordinary summit of ECOWAS earlier today in Accra, Ghana, reiterated the need for action and called for a deliberate strategy to end military interference in West Africa. The leaders welcomed the fact that the attempt to remove the president of Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoco Embalo, failed earlier this week, but emphasized the need for cooperation by member states to find a solution to the rising threat of military incursion into politics. The last 18 months have seen soldiers grab power in Mali, Guinea and Burkina Faso, and despite international pressure for a return to constitutional rule, none of the military rulers have yet to organize new elections. Today's meeting comes as part of resolutions reached at last week's virtual meeting chaired by Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo, and also reviewed the report of the ECOWAS delegation dispatched to Ouagadougou to meet with the military junta in Burkina Faso. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports that Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who has represented Nigeria at a series of meetings of ECOWAS leaders on the issues of undemocratic military takeover of governments in the region since 2020, was accompanied to the meeting by the Minister of State Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Zubairu Dada. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum of Borno State has attributed the successes recorded in the fight against terrorism in the northeastern part of the country and Borno State in particular to government's total commitment towards ensuring the restoration of lasting peace in the region. The governor stated this while briefing the State House press, an event organized by the Presidential Communication Team. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
Speaking to journalists, Governor Babagana Umar Zulum says, with a total of over $6.9 billion estimated to be lost as a result of the activities of Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast, with Borno State having two-thirds of the share, hope and confidence have been restored in the area due to the commitment of the federal government through adequate funding, which led to the well-coordinated operations of security agencies as well as all stakeholders. For instance, he says, apart from capturing of the local governments which were under the control of the insurgents, the state has also reopened schools, markets and other private and public establishments in the state for commercial and other economic activities. The governor added that the government has also reopened major roads network in the state, including Maiduguri-Baga Road, Maiduguri-Damboa and Maiduguri-Damasak and Gwada roads, which were all closed prior to this time, with access to only Kano-Maiduguri Road under strict surveillance.
Today, the gradual return of peace and a marked reduction of cases of insecurity in Borno State and major parts of the northeastern region have been attributed to the commitment and collaboration on the part of the state and federal government.
The governor commended the effort of all security agencies for their resilience, sacrifice and dedication, added that with the economic activities fully resumed in the area, what is paramount is more vigilance and strategy involving all stakeholders and funding to tackle any external threat.
Significant amount of resources has been injected into the implementation of the security strategies, financial, material, logistics, and motivational. The state government has shown a great commitment in the relocation of internally displaced persons, with farming activities picking up in most parts of the state. It is worthy of note that with the recent mass surrendering of Boko Haram insurgents, normalcy is expected to return to most part of the northeastern region in no distant time.
In the meantime, Senator Rochas Okorocha, representing Imo West at the 9th Senate, was also at the State House to intimate the president of his ambition to contest for the position of the president of Nigeria under the platform of the All Progressives Congress come 2023 election.
What is driving me is my vision and passion to make great this nation. It's my vision and passion to make sure we strengthen the unity of this country. It's rely on my passion and vision to create wealth for this country with my business experience that might be enough resources to engage the use of this land. That issue of insurgency will be a thing of the past.
Senator Rochas Okorocha reaffirmed his determination towards strengthening the unity of the country. From the State House, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says the federal government has discovered 96 financiers and about 123 companies linked with terrorism financing in Nigeria. The minister announced this at a media briefing in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
Let me say here that fighting corruption is a marathon and not a sprint.
This discovery by the federal government, the minister revealed, prompted government to deploy enough tools to fight the menace. Among them is the Money Laundering Act of 2004, the EFCC Act of 2004, the ICPC Act of 2000, Department of State Services, and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit to deal with issues of corruption, money laundering, and terror financing.
The Commission's system study and review of personnel and capital votes of MDAs resulted in savings of 261 billion naira to the government between 2019 and 2021. ICPC has also secured 66 convictions from 243 cases it filed in court during the same 3-year period. For its part, the analysis by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, in 2021 revealed 96 financiers of terrorism in Nigeria, 424 associate supporters of the financiers, involvement of about 123 companies, and 33 bureau de change, in addition to identifying 26 suspected bandits, kidnappers, and 7 co-conspirators.
The minister added that Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit in 2020 and 2021 revealed that tax evasion and tax withholding stood at 3.909 and 3.737 billion naira. On terrorism and banditry, the NFIU had intelligence exchanges on Boko Haram, banditry, kidnapping, and others connected with 19 other countries. During the same period, these organizations fraudulently obtained huge sums of money in different foreign currencies. Still, on the anti-corruption crusade, number of arrests and prosecutions were made by the EFCC and ICPC.
The case in point is the P&ID case, in which a company registered in a foreign tax haven colluded with corrupt officials over a set-to-fail gas processing project to secure about $10 billion award against the Nigerian government.
Another move to harmonize bank verification number BVN and national identification number NIN, the minister pointed out, is a deliberate move to track the flow of terror financing. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA.
And we'll take a break now for some messages. We'll be back shortly. President Muhammadu Buhari has described the late Chief Ernest Shonekon, former head of the interim national government, as a patriot whose courage saved the day for Nigeria at a crucial moment in the nation's political history. This was during a night of tributes organized as part of a state funeral in honor of Chief Shuneko in Lagos. Adeni Itaiwo completes the report.
Rendition of soulful songs interspersed with Bible reading, all talking about the meaningful life led by the late Chief Ernest Shuneko.
As far as human feeble judgment is concerned, we can bear a testimony that he lived a beautiful life.
So many words to describe one man who was a silent achiever in Nigeria's private sector, but came into historical reckoning as head of interim national government in the country. For his courage, President Muhammadu Buhari, who dispatched a federal government delegation to the ceremony, described him as a patriot.
I can recall vividly that he attended the Council of State meeting of 22nd January 2019 on a wheelchair after his first domestic accident. On a wheelchair, but because of his desire to see Nigeria on the path and trajectory of growth.
In other tributes, led by Lagos and Ogun State governors, Chief Shoneko's imprint in National Sound of Time will remain indelible.
He also helped at that time, a critical time in 1994, to set up the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, which is going to become one of the most respected institutions in the continent today.
Beyond business, our nation remains grateful to him for the stabilizing role he played at the most trying period in our body politic.
Pray for you, you will live long. You will live long. Your expectations will never be cut.
Ahead of his interment, the body of the late statesman would lie in state Friday morning. In Lagos, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
Next, Hingino in Lagos with more reports. Hingino.
Thank you, Cyril. The Apapa Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted 9 containers for violating extant law on import and export. The controller, Yusuf Malanta, said both the license and TIN number of the importers will be blocked to ease investigation. Michael Olale reports.
Despite the zero tolerance of the Apapa Customs Command to smuggling activities, coupled with its crusade on honest declarations, smugglers are still bent on testing the turbulent waters with one leg. This has not gone well with the importers of these 9 containers, who are at large as their consignments were seized on the spot. For instance, on the manifest bill of lading of the containers, the items were declared as essential goods, only for the customs to discover otherwise.
Cough syrup with codeine.
There are 702 cartons of codeine, with each containing 200 bottles, and 347 co-cabs, each containing 2,000 pieces. Although the goods will be condemned to destruction, but the agencies here are more interested in bringing the culprits to book.
Even before the end of the investigation, we first block the license of the agent, we first lock the TIN number of that very particular importer. Then gradually, if we get to the end of the investigation, we are going to revoke the license of that agency.
If we don't get the importers and get the importers to prison, then probably there may be another opportunity, another day, or another avenue that the importer can use.
Still surprised with this discovery, the customs caught up with 5 containers sized of semi-processed wood while being prepared for exports. The Apapa Command reminded exporters that the item is still on the export prohibition list. Within the month of January, the Apapa Command of the Nigeria Customs Service, as a result of its forensic management system, has generated 95.4 billion naira. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Turning our attention to the maritime sector now, beyond establishing a robust maritime security framework to check crimes and criminality, Nigeria is rigorously pursuing the reduction of greenhouse gas emission with emphasis on achieving 0.5% sulfur oxide in bunker fuel oil. At a briefing in Lagos, the Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Bashir Jamo, said series of strategies have been carefully mapped out with determination to enforcing them. Michael Olale again reports.
The mandatory measures to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases from international shipping is not just a marching order of the International Maritime Organization, but a global demand to fight the effects of climate change. As a demonstration of its commitment to this global necessity, Nigeria has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Maritime Transportation Coordination Center, MTCC for Africa, to commence implementation using 5 strategies. Closely similar to these is the IOPC Fund Manual, which spelled out index for settlement in cases of oil pollution.
When we experience that, we have to launch our claim through the International Maritime Organization. And we can't do that if we don't have price index. We have introduced such price index so that Nigeria can benefit from the funds of the IOPC Marine Environment Pollution.
Infraction in the anchorage area is invariably forcing the return of marine police in a bid to create a secured and safe maritime environment that will give room for effective implementation of the Cabotage Act to boost local participation in shipping business in Nigeria.
If you are importing a brand new vessel, you will end up in paying zero duty. 1 year to 2 years has a very marginal between 1 to 2%.
NIMASA is also following up this measure with the activation of the Global Maritime Distress System, GMDSS equipment needed for sending alerts in emergency situation, while the upgrading of Sea Vision to allow for the monitoring of vessels along the west and central region is another feat by the federal government to create a 360-degree security platform on the waterways. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
That's it from Lagos. It's now over to Benny Adams for some stories in the business world. Benny?
Thank you, Hingino, and welcome to Business. We start by telling you that the Central Bank of Nigeria, under its 100 for 100 productivity initiative, which seeks to finance 100 Nigerian bankable projects every 100 days, is evaluating beneficiaries through a screening process that will guarantee the money disbursed impact on productivity.
It's around documentation, it's around the number of jobs that you seek to create. It's also around what indeed, is it quickly you can improve that productivity, or is it a long-term gestation period? We want to see companies that indeed quickly can utilize these funds to improve productivity.
And on the energy market, oil prices edged higher on Thursday, maintaining the market's upward trajectory built on expectations that supply will continue to tighten even after OPEC Plus producers stuck to planned moderate output increases. Tight global supplies and global political tensions have boosted oil prices by about 15% so far this year. Brent crude was up 47 cents to $89.87 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude rose 60 cents to $88.76 a barrel. And meanwhile, Secretary General of OPEC, Mohamed Sanusi Barkindo, says the federal government's effort towards developing Nigeria's petroleum industry through the Petroleum Industry Act is the right step in meeting the energy needs of Nigerians. Receiving a delegation from the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, led by Dr. Billy Okoye, Group Head, Ventures and Business Development, to OPEC headquarters in Vienna, Austria, Barkindo noted that oil and gas will be accountable for more than 50% of the future energy mix and will be needed to address energy demand in the future. The Nigerian delegation acknowledged the role being played by the Declaration of Cooperation towards market stability. The meeting addressed issues relevant to energy, including sustainable development, climate change, and the importance of investing in securing future supplies to meet energy demand. Around the capital market, investors gained 215.08 billion naira as all share index inched up by 0.85%, erases previous day loss. Equities market closed at 47,329.80 basis points, with market capitalization appreciating to 25.5 trillion naira. Owandu led 23 gainers as against 19 losers, topped by Farm Deco at the end of today's session. On the activity chart, Fidelity Bank, FBNH and Guarantee were the most active to boost market turnover. Guarantee and NGX Group topped the market value list. That is business news. Network news continues with Serial.
Thank you, Benny. We'll just take a quick break and we'll be back. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, has made a symbolic presentation of sukuk checks to the Ministries of Works and Housing, Niger Delta Affairs and the Federal Capital Territory Administration as proceeds of the fourth non-interest debt. Leah Katumba Batunde reports that the sukuk, which is part of the nation's borrowing plan, is primarily sourced to finance critical infrastructure for growth.
250 billion naira being handed out is from the fourth in the series of the nation's sovereign sukuk issues, which began in 2017.
Total capital releases will now move up to 3.65 billion, representing 80% of the capital appropriation for 2021.
Many of these roads had been awarded before we came. They were not funded. So each year, Sukuk commits to milestones, how many kilometers you must deliver with this money.
And I appeal to all our very reputable contractors seated here that they should work and deliver these projects with good quality, for which they are all known for.
So on behalf of my minister, Senator Gosford Apabio, I'd like to express our sincere appreciation to the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and Planning and the Debt Management Office for considering the East-West Road as part of the Sukuk issuance for 2021.
Offered in December 2021, total sukuk raised in the country is 612.557 billion naira.
It is asset-based or project-based, which promotes financial stability by linking the financial sector with other real sectors of the economy.
We in the National Assembly will continue to support the executive in any way we can make sure that this country as a nation develops fast.
The monies go to the contractors after they've done the job. So it's one way to energize each party and tell the contractors we're in business, so get on site, and once you do the job, money is ready for you to be paid, and we keep moving on.
Nigeria's GDP is projected to grow by 4.2% in the year 2022, and the federal government says these can only be possible through steady increase in infrastructure investments. In Abuja, Leah Katumba Batunde, NTA News.
The National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission has announced an upward review of duty tour allowance for the Federal Public Service. The new rates, which take effect from the 1st of February, to increase workers' welfare in view of current economic realities.
Grade level and its equivalent, 10,000. Grade level 5 to 6 and its equivalent, 15,000. Grade level 7 to 10 and its equivalent, 17,500. Grade level 12 to 13 and its equivalent, 20,000. Grade level 14 to 15 and its equivalent, 25,000. And grade level 16 to 17 and its equivalent, 37,500 naira.
Correspondent Emmanuel Ayimiru reports that the last review was in 2008, with officers on grade level 6 and below entitled to 5,000 naira, as against the new rate, which is 15,000 naira. The revision also recategorized grade levels and their financial entitlements, further diversifying grade levels which were before now lumped together. On the political front now, 35 elected state chairmen, including that of the FCT of the All Progressives Congress, have been issued certificates of return. Salihu Gwanara reports.
Security was tight, and so was the schedule of events. This did not reduce the enthusiasm of party members who thronged Buhari House, APC National Secretariat, in their numbers to witness the event. Having been elected in October 2021, these certificates, they said, have been long awaited to enable them hit the ground running.
I will be growing the party by maintaining the open door policy in asking all our brothers who feel one way or the other offended. I'm throwing a hand of friendship for them to come back to the Abia family.
There's no winner and there's no loser. We are all APC brothers and sisters. We are all the same family. Starting from tonight or tomorrow, I'll be going from one house to another house, appealing to our people.
When you're playing golf, your eyes on the ball. My eyes is to win election come 2023 for the federal government and for Rivers State. I'm going to go all out to mobilize aggrieved members of the party to make sure we work together as a family. That's the only way you can win.
The federal government has done so much for the state and the southeast, and there's no way we cannot continue to support the federal government and support APC as well.
Secretary, APC Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, John James Akpao-Doedehe, made the presentation to the 35 state chairmen, excluding those of Kano and Sokoto states. From the APC National Secretariat in Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
It was the end of the road for 3 suspected kidnappers operating on the Benin-Auchi Expressway as they were killed after a drawn-out gun duel with security operatives. Agatha Egwariuju reports that the security men are still working to rescue 3 members of the Nigerian Bar Association Edo State chapter who were kidnapped along that route some weeks ago.
Nigerians on Wednesday woke up to this viral video of gun battle between joint security operatives and suspected kidnappers on Oho axis of Eho on the expressway, notorious for kidnapping.
But then, you can hear gun battle.
The gun duel started Tuesday when kidnappers took over the section of the highway, but gun battle forced them to run into the bush, only to reappear Wednesday morning at the same spot to lay ambush for travelers.
On receipt of the information, the DPO CSP Benafa Benjamin mobilized the military at Hewo and then the local vigilante in that area for a joint operation. They neutralized 3 of them. 3 items were recovered from the hoodlums. On the process, they rescued 1 marvelous.
Some members of the gang escaped into the bush with gunshot wounds. However, Chairman Nigerian Bar Association NBA Edo State Pius Oiwo confirmed that 3 lawyers on their way to Sabungida Ura for a court sitting are still in the kidnappers' den in the bush. The police has also warned road users to be conscious of travel time until security situation on the expressway improves, as recent cases of kidnap and robberies on the route are done very early in the morning and late at night. In Benin, Agatha Egwariuju, NTA News.
Nigeria's First Lady Aisha Buhari has reiterated commitment towards ensuring that the girl child and the Nigerian woman are free from cervical and breast cancer. The First Lady said this at the national flag-off of the Arm Our Youth Anti-Cancer campaign in Abuja. Basi Taipang was there.
That I had a lump on my breast.
Gloria was diagnosed with cancer of the breast 12 years ago. She made bold to say cancer is not a death sentence, but attitude of the people, including medics, kill faster.
Patients a chance to live. There is so much stigma because most of the times people see you like a walking corpse. When is she going to die? And if you don't die, it is assumed, are you sure she had cancer? I've heard about it and it is not fair. Cancer patients should be given the chance to live.
The First Lady, who was represented by the wife of the Vice President, stressed the need for intensified awareness, especially among youths.
My Future Assured initiative has been at the forefront of this campaign over the years, creating awareness, screening, and making referrals across the country. I intend to continue to do more and to partner with organizations such as Nigerian Cancer Society and the OCI Foundation, until we overcome the negative health outcomes associated with cancer.
To create desired awareness is the essence of Arm Our Youth Cancer Campaign.
For the records, ladies and gentlemen, the Arm Our Youth Health Campaign offers an innovative approach to stemming the scourge of breast and cervical cancers among Nigerians. The principles behind it are novel.
Most cancer issues, experts noted, start at the early age and advised youth to live right. A Savvy Breast app was launched for information on cancer and treatment at a go.
No,
Basti Saipan, NTA News.
And staying with health matters now, 6 governors from the northwest and northeast states of Nigeria have signed a memorandum of understanding with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to curb the recent surge of mutant poliovirus in the country. The signing of the new deal, which includes a partnership with the Aliko Dangote Foundation, was presided over by the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum and Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
The frontline states are Borno, Bauchi, Kaduna, Kano, Sokoto and Yobe. The business here is to facilitate a robust partnership to contain reported cases of mutant poliovirus. Now the widespread of the type 2 of the mutant poliovirus and better ways of mitigating its impact and reduce chances of more infections necessitated this agreement.
We have work to do, and I look forward to hearing the presentation from the NGF Secretariat and the reactions of the governors to how we finish the job in eradicating all forms of poliovirus. And I don't want to think about that as a step backwards. I think about it actually as our step forward. Because the way we do that is to continue to do high quality campaigns for the poliovirus, but more importantly, and as importantly, to strengthen the primary health care.
A lot has changed, as you all know, with the advent of the coronavirus, but we keep moving forward. There's more work to do on eliminating the vaccine-derived version of polio that is now circulating through most of the country.
The vista is expected to drive a process that will set health priorities for affected states and put others on alert in dealing with the virus. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Time for another quick break. Stay with us. And checking on one of our top reports tonight, the second extraordinary summit of ECOWAS heads of state and government has ended in Accra, Ghana. State House correspondent Jide Onifade has more details.
The second extraordinary meeting of the authority of the ECOWAS and heads of state and government. Again, like in previous meetings, 3 countries, Mali, Guinea and Burkina Faso, are missing in the park, all suspended for the forceful taking over of legitimate government by the military in those countries.
It's been fruitful. I think the heads of state again, reiterated the very firm position that had been taken earlier, that there's absolutely no excuse for change of government by coups d'etat. There's only one way of changing government in the ECOWAS region, and that is a way that's acceptable to all of our protocols and to even the civil and political rights of our people, and that is by a democratically elected government or by democratic change.
Mali is said to be cooperating and would rather prefer further dialogue to sanctions.
Expecting that the Malian authorities will respond to ECOWAS. We impose sanctions, as you know, and we expect that at some point the Malian authorities themselves will begin to speed up the process of transition. We expect that they will do so, and we're looking forward to that engagement.
There was already a serious economic problem and a humanitarian crisis. With the sanction coming at this time, it adds to these problems.
The African Union has expressed strong support to the efforts of ECOWAS in addressing peace and security challenges facing the region, including the resurgence of military coups. This action of the African Union receives commendation from ECOWAS leaders who describe the resurgence of coup d'etat in the West African region as a matter of grave concern.
Let us address this dangerous trend collectively and decisively before it devastates the whole region. The African Union expressed strong support to the efforts of ECOWAS in addressing peace and security challenges facing the region, including the resurgence of military coups. This is the solidarity and international coalition that are needed to halt the political turbulence in our region and the continent at large.
Well, the resurgence of military coups, especially in West Africa sub-region, is what leaders here have described as a slap too many on the face, and if not urgently addressed, may lead to something else, and therefore have decided to take stringent actions against coup plotters. In Accra, Ghana, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
AFCON now, and the semi-final match between the indomitable Lions of Cameroon and the Pharaohs of Egypt is going into extra time following 90 minutes of a goalless draw. The two most successful sides in the history of the AFCON, Egypt and Cameroon, have to decide who will face Senegal in the final on Sunday. And that concludes Network News Tonight. Thank you for watching. Remember to be part of the fight against rape and rapists. Do this in conjunction with the NTA. I'm Cyril Stover. Good night.